So basically, we're going to encapsulate Trump's issue this way, ladies and gentlemen. Look at me, Sherry. I'm talking to my peeps here. Look at me, Galen. Look at me, Michael. Griff, just because you shaved your beard and you no longer look like a caveman don't mean you're going to get away with ignoring me. Listen to me right now.
What president was getting they freak on in the Oval? We had a few of them? None of them named Trump? What? Hello, friend. So Stephen A. Smith is making the rounds for sure, and he is talking. And we are going to cover him today because Stephen A. has come out here with a deranged rant, and he goes from Bill Clinton to John F. Kennedy back to Trump to make his point and saying, you people are deranged if you think you're going to take this man down because he had sex with a porn star, when we've got Bill Clinton who was doing it in the Oval. We've got John F. Kennedy who was boinking Marilyn Monroe in the Oval, when we've got these people who are actually doing the deed in the White House. But Trump says, I'm going to try to handle this, put a hush on this before I even get to the White House. And now you want to punish him for that. And so this is what we're going to talk about today. We're reacting to Stephen A. Smith and him having a meltdown because he wants to show his people that, look, what you're doing is not going to win us this election. What you're doing is going to isolate the American people because they are seeing clear and straight through the nonsense that you're laying down. They're picking up that you are laying down some nonsense and the American people is not going to have it. So we're going to have a talk about it. So if you're interested in that, let's go. Hello, friend, and welcome to The Conservative Poet. I am Amania. Here on the channel, I do reaction videos, political commentary. I throw some comedy, some satire in there to make fun of the crazy. So because these times that we're seeing in the society, if we don't have a little bit of sense of humor, we're gonna go mad. So if you're interested in that, then you've come to the right place, and I'll see you in the video.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but jury selection began today in a New York courtroom where former President Donald Trump is fighting 34 felony charges. The counts allege Trump falsified business records to cover up a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels in a run-up to the 2016 presidential election. If convicted, the charges could land the presumptive Republican presidential nominee in prison. Prosecutors allege Trump reimbursed his former lawyer Michael Cohen for the payment, falsely labeling the checks as legal services and concealing a federal election law violation. Of course, Trump has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a disaster. Somebody knows. I don't know if you noticed or not, but jury selection began today in a New York courtroom.
It is a disaster.
Where former President Donald Trump is fighting 34 felony charges.
For
the counts allege Trump falsified business records to cover up a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels
laid it out beautifully.
In a run-up to the 2016 presidential
election.
One
here case,
if convicted,
this hush money case,
the charges could land the presumptive Republican presidential nominee.
President Trump paying a porn star.
Prosecutors allege Trump reimbursed his former lawyer Michael Cohen for the payment, falsely labeling the checks
to pull
as legal services
to
and
make
concealing
something
a federal
out of nothing.
Federal
Stephen
election
A.
law
Smith
violation.
Sees it for what
of course, Trump
it
has pleaded
is.
not guilty
he
to the charges.
Sees that this
Ladies
is
and gentlemen, this is a
persecution.
disaster.
And he's
Somebody
going
needs to tell you,
to
so I'm
talk
going
to
to
his party
about I don't know if you noticed or not, but jury selection began
well.
today
so
in a
we're
New York courtroom.
Sit back
where former
and hear
President
exactly
Donald Trump is fighting 34 felonies. I got liberals working for me who will remain nameless, working on my staff and stuff like that. But without looking at them, I'm going to plead to them to understand where I'm coming from. I want to emphasize that I'm not absolving Trump from anything. I'm not trying to paint him as some good guy who's being victimized. That's not what this is about. What this is about is the end game. And people not willing to see the forest from the trees. Understanding the damage that can ultimately be caused. You want Trump gone? Beat him. Beat him. Period.
Well, Stephen A.,
working for me
that's just
who will
it,
remain
friend.
nameless,
They
working
can't
on my
beat
staff
him.
and stuff like that.
Not with
But without
how
looking at
this
them, I'm going to
economy
plead
is
to them
going.
to
Not
understand where I'm
the
coming
way
from.
the world is
I want to
on
emphasize
fire.
that I'm not absolving
We're
Trump
in a
from anything.
war. There's 2 wars.
I'm not
There
trying
might
to
be
paint him
another
as some
war.
good
People
guy
can't
who's
even
being
buy groceries.
victimized.
Yeah, no.
That's
no,
not
no,
what
no.
this is
They
about.
can't beat Donald
What
Trump.
this is about is the
And
end
this
game.
is why they
And
are
people not
doing
willing to
all
see the
of
forest
this.
from
so
the
you
trees.
keep saying beat him, beat him,
Understanding
beat him.
the damage that can ultimately
The
be caused.
majority of Americans, this country,
You
don't
want Trump
what
gone?
the Democrats are
Beat
selling,
him.
and so they can't beat him. And
Beat
so this
him.
is why they have to come up with all of these
Period.
crazy cases to
I
try
got
to
liberals
enforce
working
the
for
law
me
to
who will
break
remain
him.
nameless.
Okay, this
working
is
on my
why we're
staff and
seeing
stuff
this.
like that.
They can't beat him.
But
They
without
can't
looking
beat
at
him.
them,
They
I'm going
can't
to
beat him.
plead to them. Didn't Roe v. Wade get overturned? Isn't there millions upon millions of women out there who are diametrically opposed to that decision? Wasn't it Trump initially bragging, the one that was bragging about how he was responsible for the overturning of Roe v. Wade? Before the GOP got up in him and said, stop saying that, you might cost yourself the election because you got a whole bunch of women out there that are appalled by that decision. And then he reversed course. Not completely with Roe v. Wade, but in terms of the amount of time that should be allowed before you're allowed to have an abortion, or the amount of time that should span before you can ultimately cut off the possibility of being able to have an abortion. These are the kind of things that Trump has been involved with. You've got that going on.
Hello, fellow patriots. Thank you so much for your support. And again, you can do so by purchasing products from the Orlando Patriots, mugs, t-shirts, all of your patriotic gear. We are in an election year, so we need to show the world that we support our candidates, especially President Trump. So get some gear at theorlandopatriot.com and you'll get 30% off. Thank you for your support. It means the world to me. I'll see you there. Steven, are you pushing pro-death policies onto your black women, onto the black family, onto the black people? Pro-death policies? So, Stephen A. Smith, yes, President Trump did get Roe v. Wade overturned. This is something that is historical for life. You are always out here hooting and hollering about your community. Do you know that it is your community that suffers the most through pro-death policies such as abortion? Do you know that 50% of the black baby can barely make it out of the womb? You're all Black Lives Matter, Black people matter, Black Lives Matter, but yet you are here saying to the people to go out there and push more pro-death policies. This is going to get people out. This is going to get them out here to vote. And so you're going to try to use that to vote to get Donald Trump out of office? Pro-death for your people, Stephen A. Smith? This is what you're doing? This is what you're going with? Yeah, the women out there, aren't you opposed to Roe v. Wade being overturned? Going out there and cast in your vote, and make sure you vote for Joe Biden so that way we can get the people who love babies, the people like Donald Trump, out of office, to keep him out of office. Wow.
You've got an economy that the Democrats want to say is thriving. We've got an inflation issue that they say is not really an issue. You're just miscalculating what's really transpiring. We've got an unemployment rate worthy of being stomached. It's not bloated. What's the problem? Do you know what kind of position you're putting yourself in if you're the Democrats? Listen to me, my liberal fellas and ladies. Listen to me. Did it ever occur to you that Iran dropping bombs or trying to drop bombs or send drones and missiles and all of this stuff to Israel could potentially be deemed as a bad look by the United States? China issues, Russia invading Ukraine, border issues here in the States, Texas, Florida, California, violence in the streets of New York, LA, folks committing crimes and they out of jail the same day. Is it possible that it could be perceived that you're going after Trump using lawfare because you can't beat him, because you know the issues don't favor you?
That's right, Stephen A. The issues don't favor Democrats. And the reason is because many of the issues is things that the Democrats have done in order for the society to have these issues. Let's look at the border situation. So this is Democrat policies. Joe Biden just left the border wide open. It was closed. We were doing great. Day one in, he changed that. So therefore, we've got an issue. We got millions and millions and millions of people pouring in. So that's an issue that the Democrat has done. So that issue don't favor them. Don't favor them at all because they've caused this problem. The economic problem. Day one, he came in and closed down the Keystone Pipeline, which means he's got to buy gas and oil and all that from other countries, which is going to put us in a bad situation. So yeah, that's another problem. And then he's involved in many wars. He's involved in the Ukraine war, and now we got this Israel war and America all over that. Again, the issues don't favor you. And we've got crime in the cities. People are committing crimes morning, noon, and night. You can't even leave the house without being robbed. Your car's not safe. Nothing is safe. Why? Because of these get arrested maybe one day and then you're out the next day. Again, Democrat policies that's caused all of this. Look at everything. Again, the issues are not favorable to y'all. So therefore, you can't beat Trump at the ballot box. They can't beat Trump at the ballot box because the issues are overwhelming and America has had enough.
When you bring up these issues and you say 34 charges, don't you think it's sort of diminished the moment you say it's hush money for a porn star? So let me get this straight. The 45th president of the United States, who's no longer the president of the United States at this particular moment, is in a courtroom today, 8 years after he was originally elected, because he facilitated hush money to a porn star. So in other words, I screwed around with a porn star and I didn't want nobody to know. Y'all don't remember Gary Hart and some of the lies he was willing to tell? He wasn't the only one. Y'all remember Bill Clinton? I have never had sexual relations with that woman. Y'all remember that? Lying under oath. Remember that? No sexual relations. Who was the presidential candidate? Edwards? John Edwards? Remember the lies that he told? You really gonna push this where a state like New York has a former president in a courtroom because he paid $130,000 in hush money through an intermediary who happened to be his lawyer, Michael Cohen, to keep a porn star's mouth shut about the fact that they got loose with each other. Because he didn't want that to taint his campaign. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have people in court because they lied about stuff when they were campaigning for higher office, knowing that it could derail their campaign. Now, I'm not getting into the legalese of it all. I understand from a legal perspective, the law is the law. As a former president in a courtroom because He paid
deranged, Trump, crazy
$130,000
person
in
like
hush
Stephen A.
money
Smith, you gotta
through an
say,
intermediary
wow.
who happened to be his lawyer, Michael
Even
Cohen,
he sees it
to
this
keep a
way.
porn star's
Even
mouth
he
shut
sees the
about
way
the
this is
fact
being
that
portrayed.
they got loose
Look
with
at
each
this.
other.
8 years later,
Because he didn't want that to
this man is
taint
being
his
persecuted
campaign.
for what?
That's what we're going to do.
Even
We're
if
going to
he
have
did,
people in
so
court
what?
because they lied
So
about
what?
stuff when
You
they were
know?
campaigning for higher
All the
office,
sport in the
knowing
world.
that it could
Even if he
derail
did.
their campaign. Now, I'm not
Bill
getting
Clinton
into the
done did it in the
legalese of it
office.
all.
He
I
was
understand from a
getting
legal
his freak
perspective,
on
the
in the
law is the
office.
law is the law.
All of these other
Has a
people, all
former
of these
president
other
in a
entities
courtroom
who's done certain
because
things.
he paid $130,000 in
Who
hush
paid
money
his lawyer, who cut
through
a
an
check to his
intermediary
lawyer
who
for
happened to be his lawyer, Michael
expenses,
Cohen, to keep a porn star's
is
mouth
sitting in a
shut
courtroom
about the fact
defending
that they got
himself
loose
and
with
for
each
what?
other.
So even
Because he didn't
a
want
Trump
that to
deranged Stephen
taint
A.
his
Smith can see that.
campaign. That's what we're going to
And he
do.
sees
We're going to have
the
people
writing
in
is on the
court because
wall
they
that
lied
this is
about
how far
stuff
you all are
when they
willing
were
to go
campaigning for higher office,
interfere
knowing
in an
that it could
election.
derail their campaign.
It
Now, I'm
doesn't
not getting
look
into
good.
the
It's not a good
legalese
look.
of
It
it all.
doesn't
I
have a good
understand from a
smell to
legal
it for the
perspective, the
American
law is the
people.
law is the
And
law.
not just the American
Has a
people,
former
but for
president
the
in a
eyes
courtroom
abroad
because
looking in on what is
he
happening
paid
in America. We are
$130,000 in
losing
hush money
businesses in New York.
through an
Nobody
intermediary
wants to
who
come and
happened to
do
be his
business.
lawyer, Michael Cohen,
Aside
to keep
from
a porn
look at all the
star's mouth
illegals
shut
out there, all
about
that
the
bad
fact
stuff happening,
that they
the
got
bad
loose
luck,
with
the
each other.
trash, people defecating
Because
on
he
the
didn't want
streets.
that to taint his
You know?
campaign.
New York has
That's what we're
fallen.
going to do. We're going to have people
And
in
it's gonna
court
even
because they
fall
lied
even
about
more
stuff
because nobody wants
when
to
they were
come and do
campaigning
business
for
in a
higher
place where
office,
they think,
knowing that
man,
it could
I can get
derail their
locked up.
campaign.
Look
Now,
at
I'm
what
not
they're doing
getting
to
into the
President of the
legalese of it
United
all.
States
I
of America.
understand from a
I
legal
could get locked
perspective,
up
the
for
law
doing
is
that,
the
for
law
just
is the law.
literally pissing on
Has
the
a
street.
former president in a courtroom because he paid $130,000. He got with a porn star and tried to hide it while he was campaigning for the highest office in the land. And that's your case. It's much ado about nothing. To my liberal friends out there, all you're doing is showing that you're scared you can't beat them on the issues and the merits. That's why he keeps saying it's a political campaign against me. That's why he keeps saying they can't beat me at the election, at the polls. This is the only way they could do it. And if you don't put him in jail, and he still goes from being the presumptive GOP nominee to the official GOP nominee, and he goes to the polls, even though he was going to whine about winning and being rigged again, you have given more fodder to that argument, which means we'll never have peace in this country because tens of millions of people see what extent the other side is willing to go through just to keep him out of office because they can't beat him on their own merits. And they're going to say, hey, you trumped this up against him again, and we'll have no peace. When all you got to do is figure out a way to beat him on the issues. But you haven't been able to do it.
Seen that, heard that, good. Well, Stephen A., you have hit it on the head with the hammer. Indeed, they have not been able to figure out a way to beat Donald Trump if it's not cheating, if it's not condemning him in public opinion, if it's not putting the media to work to make him look bad, if it's not rigging every turn, court after court, indictment after indictment. I mean, it's crazy. And Bill Clinton did more. Bill Clinton was having it done in the Oval Office. He was getting in the Oval Office, Bill Clinton. He ain't go to jail for that. It's okay, so what? He was boinking in the Oval. Kennedy did it, right? Marilyn Monroe in the Oval. Trump did not do that in the Oval. And even if he had relations with Stormy Daniels, so what? You think Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton haven't paid off other women to keep quiet about these things? Huh? You think they haven't paid women off to keep quiet about these things? I'll bet you there's hush money around for Bill Clinton, being that he is so involved in the whole what's our friend name? The one who Epsteined himself, Epstein, you know? All that business with Epstein and young girls and Epstein. Yeah. I'm sure there's a whole lot of hush money somewhere where Hillary Clinton wrote on the checks and Bill Clinton wrote on the checks. Do you see anybody going after old Bill Clinton? Is he in court right now defending himself? No, he's not. So this was a great conversation to have. And so I thank you for that, Stephen A. Smith, for bringing this up and having this conversation with your people. And so your audience, your liberal friends and Democrat friends, it's good to have this conversation, to iron it out, to highlight the insanity that we are seeing. Okay, the man had relations with a porn star. Okay, that's your case? That's it? And now you got all these people, businesses stopping, people are court taxpayer money being wasted. Your tax dollar being wasted, my tax dollar being wasted, the people's in New York tax dollar being wasted. Money's being wasted, and to do what? To try to steal an election. That's what it really boils down to, friends. You can't beat them. And we all know you didn't beat them in 2020. We all know that. And just like in 2020, once they see that this whole business isn't working, COVID number two. That's going to be it for the video, friends. Thank you so much for taking the time and watching, sharing, subscribing, and let's have a conversation in the comments in reference to what we've talked about here, everything that Stephen A. Smith had to say. I do enjoy watching him, so I've made a few more videos of him. I still have another one that I want to make, but I wanted to cover this one, and I'm dropping another one tonight on some of the conversations that he's been having in the media in reference to what is going on. Like, he is standing alone telling people, look, this is not good. And he's, like I said, he's Trump deranged. He wants his party to win. He wants the Democrats to win, but he is saying, man, what you're doing is kind of wrong. And the people see that, and all we're going to do is lose elections because of it. That's all we're going to do. We're going to lose elections. So let's chat it up in the comments in reference to what do you think about Stephen and how he's coming out here and talking so much. God, I'm praying they don't cancel the man, because you know when you come out here and you talk about stuff, all of a sudden the FBI be raiding your house. You know, they canceling you. They you having visits from people telling you, hey man, you gonna have to shut the hell up or we're gonna have to give you the hammer. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go now. Thanks again. And by the way, I do have subscription if you are interested in seeing me more behind the scenes, more quick movements. I also have a segment where I am now contributing with other YouTubers, and we're doing street interviews, and so I'm bringing those, and I'm also bringing you along behind the scenes, but those are really going towards my subscription folks, where you can see more of me on the ground doing the work. Again, we have elections, so I'm constantly on the move, so you'll be able to see more of me, and sometimes it's easier for me to just do that while I'm out as opposed to this whole setup. And so I'm kind of liking it. So any event, that's gonna be it. Finally, I've said that like 5 times, right? 5 times I've said it, but this is goodbye for good for now. I'll see y'all in another video. God bless you, keep you, and hey, subscribe because it really does help me out. Okay, I'll see you around.